our newest commercial director to the ProCare Networks Limited board, Mike Schubert. Mike's our commercial director with financial skills and some experience in the health industry. And Mike, welcome to your first AGM for ProCare. Our agenda today I'll give us a little update shortly. Steve will share some highlights from the year, and Tony will provide us with a financial report, and then we'll move into the formal resolutions and the vote count. Hopefully that will work, and then we'll have those questions submitted at the end. So today I'm going to spend some time outlining the key points of our group structure. First of all, though, we have a short video, and it's on that screen, if you can turn yourself around, to just show you and explain a little bit about our journey. Thanks, Cheryl.
Excellence delivered with humanity. That's not just a strategy, it's a statement of who we are and what we stand for. For a quarter of a century, ProCare has been proudly making a difference in the quality of services for our practitioners and the quality of life for our patients. As New Zealand's largest and most diverse general practice network, ProCare's strength lies in our collective unity. 179 individual practices caring for more than 800,000 Aucklanders coming together to be the independent, ethical voice of quality primary healthcare. Our development has been extraordinary. We still hold true to our values from our roots. A legacy established as an independent practitioners association back in 1995, working to achieve the best outcomes for all in our care. As the medical and societal landscape evolved over the years, so have we. The mandate from you to move to a cooperative structure in 2018 that is now established has unlocked a wealth of support and innovation opportunities and put the control back in your hands. It's allowed for better continuity of care for patients and the ability to build stronger, thriving practices. By transforming our structure through the cooperative, the Foundation and the PHO, we have strengthened our ability to deliver services that support the achievement of quality health outcomes and be a health partner for life. Together, we're changing people's lives for the better, driven by the belief that every New Zealander has the right to live well. ProCare's future is focused on collaborating and developing further as we advance our understanding of the health needs of our patients, whānau and communities. The real strength of the ProCare Group is you, our cooperative members, as we strive to be the most progressive, trusted healthcare network in the country. Together, we transform healthcare so people can live great lives.
diverse range of health-related activities that will improve population health and community outcomes. Each year, the Foundation's Board of Trustees will determine the level of grant funding. Eligibility for grants is based on the purposes of the Foundation, as well as the merits the applications bring to improve health and wellbeing objectives. In 2018, over $200,000 was allocated to 7 charities, including Cure Kids, the Starship Foundation, National Heart Foundation, Grief Support and Education Charitable Trust, Cystic Fibrosis Association of New Zealand, Carers New Zealand, and Family Success Matters. ProCare Network Co-op. The ProCare Network is the commercial arm of the ProCare Group. 100% owned by the current shareholders and practices, the network's primary role is to provide practice support services. As a cooperative, we draw on the collective strength of New Zealand's largest network of independent general practices. Our legacy continues to drive our passion to advance care and deliver better outcomes. Our aim is to keep innovating in the rapidly evolving healthcare environment to help our communities live healthier lives. ProCare Partnerships. A new arm, ProCare Partnerships, has been established to develop commercial businesses and drive innovation through social enterprises such as Home Care Medical and Fresh Minds. ProCare Partnerships allows for investment by either clinicians or third parties. To give you an idea of the impact these social enterprises are having, between July 18 and July 19, over 6,000 clients were seen by our Fresh Minds team. More than 5,000 of those were referrals from ProCare member practices such as your own. Home Care Medical has continued to work with health partners and the sector to virtually support people to stay well and connected. Last year, Home Care Medical staff took more than 260,000 after-hours calls from ProCare practices. 58% of those calls were from those aged more than 65. Our transformation to where we are today is something I'm very proud of. We have a good kaupapa, purpose, vision and values. We now have an opportunity as a group to leverage off each other's strengths to support the well-being of our practices and patients. We're striving to be the most progressive, trusted healthcare network so people can achieve greater well-being for themselves and their whānau. This is not a dream, it's a progression of the work we started last year. Our transformation continues as we focus on providing even greater impacts to the communities we care for. As our commercial arm of the group, the cooperative is focused on generating a surplus. Rather than individual dividend payments that have happened previously, our focus from now on will be to invest any surplus back into the network so everyone benefits. Surpluses will be directed to sustainability of the general practice model and the clinical workforce. Specifically, the focus will be on using surpluses to reduce overhead costs of general practice, invest in model of care improvements which add value to general practice, and support the well-being of your workforce. The network may pay dividends on top of this in the future, however the above priorities are our immediate focus. We will have time for questions after. We'll go through all this and then so park your questions, keep them for later. Steve, over to you.
All right, thank you, Harley, and kia ora, everyone. Pleasure being here. It was a big year. Obviously, the establishment of the cooperative was a huge milestone. There were a lot of other significant achievements as well. We've continued our leadership role in mental health and firstly with the No better? Yep, cool. Sorry about that. Yeah, so huge piece of work, our population health needs analysis, and it's much broader than where we've traditionally looked at the biggest needs around CVD and diabetes. And once we'd done that analysis, then the PHO board said we want to actually develop a population health strategy that's going to close those gaps. We came up with this 5-stage life stage focus, and there are very detailed, targets within underneath there. And the nice thing about how we're aligning everything, our resourcing, our funding around this, is that each of our practices now are going to be able to then do the same thing, look at their data and say which part of that continuum am I going to put my focus on and the rest and resources. So really exciting point in time. Just go ahead things, Tony. Obviously we've launched a whole range of new co-op services, and it's just the beginning. We expect to be rolling out new services in response to the demands of the network order, but certainly the recruitment and the practice management service and some of the employee benefits that we've launched as well for the network have been proved very popular. We've seen a number of practices reach full accreditation as a healthcare home, and we've done a lot of the hard yards about getting house ready to support practices adopting the preferred PMS system indice, and we're expecting to see the first pilot go live this month, and there's a strong pipeline of other practices that are keen to be part of the rollout next year. I've talked about the forming of the co-op. We've done a lot of advocacy last year. One of the key ones that we're very pleased with was getting a one-off payment from the ministry recognising all the hard work the practices did on the National Enrolment Service and the CSC cards. Our relationship with ACC and MSD is getting stronger and stronger, and work we've done on high-tech imaging has now been rolled out nationally, and we're looking at other opportunities in that space. And with through collaboration with the network, we put a very credible submission to the Health and Disability Review, and we're looking forward to be actively part of that going forward and as it heads towards the phase 2 of that report. So that kind of sums up things. A lot of great achievements and a lot of great foundations for the future going forward. Very excited. Thank you.
Kia ora tātou. Tony White, I'm the CFO at ProCare. I'm not going to go through page by page of the annual report, but hopefully it makes a very riveting read. If you do get a chance to actually read it, please actually do. But very much the key points of the financials, reflecting the end of the old structure and heralding the future structure under a new cooperative and a PHO, which is formed as a charity from 1 July. The point of time at 30 June, we have a consolidated picture and a consolidated profit result of 238,000, which is an improvement on the year before of 22,000. We have broken that down in between the individual entities. We are looking to consolidate going into future years, but the point which I would make clear is that because the PHO is a charity, we're not going to be including those results as distributable results. The results formed under the cooperative, including the co-op and the actual entities underneath the cooperative, will be part of the commercial components which will be presenting and will be part of our commercial activities going forward. But the results up to that 30 June 19 period we have on the right here, and we have the PHO delivering a break-even result. The co-op itself actually delivered a loss of negative 1,044,000. That was largely borne about with a number of investments around operating costs and projects which the co-op had actually delivered through the year. Home care medical, our share of the home care medical result was 1.18 million, representing a 50% share of the result flowing through from that entity, and Fresh Minds was $344,000 net profit before tax. There was a group tax component of 242,000. All up, that totaled up to the 238,000 for the full year. A few other points to actually to mention is that this was a year of change where there were a number of new revenue standards where the group had to recognise revenue in a very different way. That had an implication around the results which flowed through mainly into the cooperative. As I mentioned, the PHO in future years, any results which the PHO generates will be non-distributable. And the point around dividend, the board has actually determined that there will be no dividend to be paid in the June 19 year. In terms of our balance sheet, we have a pretty healthy fiscal position looking at our total asset picture through the year and through the restructure which we took you all as shareholders through as part of the wider structural change with the cooperative. Was we moved the Procare Charitable Foundation shareholding and converted that equity into a debt position or a loan position, and hence there was a reduction in the net equity. Having said that, we actually managed to restore some of the equity position with the earnings through the year. So we have a net equity position representing the shareholding of our practice cooperative shareholding of 3.56 million and a total asset picture of 25 million overall. Thank you.
Thanks, Tony. I neglected to give you the total of the votes, the people participating in the meeting today. So the total electronic voting is 124 members. We have 612 eligible shareholders, so it's approximately 20% have participated in the AGM today. We'll move on to the formal resolutions. For approval from the floor is that the meeting attendees receive and approve the minutes of the 2018 AGM, which should be in your annual report. Have we got those? Somebody want to move that they are a true and accurate record? Yep, Francisco, somebody want to second that? Jan? Yes. Any discussion on the minutes from the previous AGM? I think there's very few people here for the previous AGM. All those in favour say aye. Against? Passed. For noting that the meeting attendees received the director's report, financial statements and the report of the auditor for the year ended 30 June 19 as detailed in the annual report. Thank you, Tavita. Yep. Somebody want to second that, Jody? Yep. Any discussion? All those in favour say aye. Against? Noted. For approval, that the directors be authorised to fix the remuneration of the company's auditors. Jan? Yep. Somebody want to second? We've got a result on that. The result is?
The result is 83% of people voting, 103 votes for.
So 103 people voted for that and 2 voted against. And 19 abstained. Right. So that's the electronic voting for that resolution. It kind of changes how AGMs feel when you're just announcing an electronic result, isn't it? So now we move on to the election of directors. This year we had 2 directors retiring who put themselves up for re-election, Dr. Francisco Lentini and Dr. Jan White, and 2 other shareholders put themselves forward for election, Leslie Going and Dr. Georgina Kay. Tony has the results. Okay, so I'll read out the, so we've got the just the total column, right? Okay. So Leslie Going, 52, Georgina Kay, 38, Francisco Lentini, 68, and Jan White, 62. Congratulations, Jan and Francisco. And Gina and Leslie, thank you so much for putting your names forward. I know there's a little bit of nervousness this afternoon about who is going to get elected, but we're just so grateful we have got an organisation that we can participate in voting on the people who are on our board. General business, questions and answers. So I think Rose will bring any questions that have been submitted online, or Ainsley. But first of all, from the floor, any questions from the floor? Sue.
Can you tell me what has happened to the enrolled population as a general
Okay, I'll repeat the question for the people online. So you've asked, what's the general trend of the enrolled population for the ProCare group over the last 5 years? Now I'm looking to see who would be most...
Yeah, it's a bit tricky with practice movements and corporatisation, but I think the growth of across all the region is just over 2%, maybe close to 2.5%. We still have a very large amount of unenrolled youths, and it's 160,000.
Is your microphone on? So you...
So about 2%, and we're sort of running around that mark. Should have gone to the training course. There we go.
So the answer was...
Yeah. So, just to give it to you for ProCare with all practice movements between PHOs and things like that, and corporatisation, it would be not meaningful. But across the region, I believe that the growth is somewhere on average over those few years between 2 and 2.5%. Notwithstanding that, we still have a very large amount of unenrolled people, about 160,000. We've just actually received a detailed analysis about what that looks like by suburb, which was interesting. I don't have any insights at this point, but if you do, Sue, I'd be very interested to hear.
Any other questions? Well, I just thought we might go back to this slide, which is basically how we intend in the future to distribute any surplus. Does that make sense to people, to the practitioners or the practice owners in the room? See some little nods. So delivering a reduction in overhead costs, things that we all have to buy, whether it's communications or licenses, model of care improvements, we're thinking about Te Tuma Waiora, ACC high-tech imaging, things like that we worked up and then brought out to the practices that had some benefit for practices and patients, and supporting the well-being of your workforce. So that's been already started. Steve and I were talking about this before, how we've got these support things for managing our own staff, about performance reviews, recruiting the right people, training them. So we're starting to do that more, and we're really interested if people have got ideas. You might come up to us after the meeting about how do we support our own GP workforce. So there's a bit about succession planning, but there's also about how we keep ourselves in good mental health and positive about our jobs while we're at our work. So we're really open to new ideas on that as well.
Can I just say that I think it's quite important that as a so-called profit, that it gets spent equally across the practices, whether they're high needs or low needs practices, because completely understandably, low needs practices get a lot more of the government subsidies, etc. But and that's what should happen. But when it comes to surplus from your co-op, I think it should come back into to help the clinician, the doctors, nurses, and all practices, rather than just the local.
So I'll repeat the question for the benefit of our online audience. So yours is a concern that when we do distribute profits or surpluses, that it's based on practice size or per practice rather than by high needs population enrolled in the practice.
Because it's a different, this is a profit from being in co-op,
Yes.
and I think it should go back. I think it's the other PHO looking after the equity side, and if this is to do with the co-op shareholders, which is all GPs or nurses or pharmacists, I think it should go back and look after them equally.
Yes. Yes. So the PHO is looking at the population health and where there's inequities there, but the co-op is looking at services for the practices or reducing costs in the practice, agnostic of the type of enrolled population. Yep. Yes. Thank you. Any other questions? Ainsley just put her head round before and said there was no online questions, so thank you to those who have participated online. So I'd like to end with a Māori proverb. I hara taku toa, I te toa takitahi, engari he toa takitini. For those of you who would like a translation, success is not the work of one, but the work of many. So with that, I'd like to say thank you very much and call the AGM to a close. Thank you, everyone. Please stay around for drinks and we'd like to have your questions and further discussion.